You guys are.
We're live. Hello, everybody. We are doing a webinar today on time management and self-care. I have Kristins Rhodes with me today. And we don't have any viewers yet. Do you see that, Kristen?
Thank you. Oh.
Let me just notify them on the Pride really quick.
Okay. You run my stuff over to the post office by bringing it in? Yeah, it's like a huge tub. Oh, yeah. It's like a couple bucks. Go for it.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start.
Okay.
One viewer, yay. Okay, so we're going to do a webinar today on self-care and time management. And before we get started, I would like to just address the challenge that I gave you guys last week, and that was to solidify your why. If you haven't done that, I would love to encourage you to do that. And tell your sponsor, or if you have an accountability partner, tell them what your why is. And, you know, just to keep yourself accountable and so that you are vocalizing your why, and that will help you in your business. So today we're going to start with Kristen, and she's going to talk about self-care. I asked her, first of all, I would love for her to share her story. So Kristen, go ahead and share your story.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Kristins Rhodes, and I am located just outside of Chicago, Illinois, and I own a yoga studio, and I'm a mom of two girls, 7 and 3. I started LuLaRoe back in June, and I had a lot on my plate at that time. Like I said, I own a yoga studio. I'm a massage therapist. I was a birth doula. I was in the middle of yoga teacher training, a 200-hour super intense program that I was in the middle of, was introduced to LuLaRoe and instantly fell in love. Decided I had to be a consultant, even though, of course, I had all those million things on my plate. So I pretty much sell self-care for a living. I teach yoga, I do massage therapy, and I will be the first one to say that sometimes I forget to indulge in those things myself. So I have to not only talk the talk, but I have to walk the walk as well. Since starting LuLaRoe, I have been able to really repurpose myself, repurpose my why, repurpose my schedule, the things that are super important to me. So I'll talk a little bit about my why. The reason I opened this space, this yoga space, of course we call it a yoga studio because we hold yoga classes, but it really reaches my community for a lot of reasons. I am a doula. So basically I'm helping moms birth their babies, but I'm also creating a space for support. I call this space that we're actually in right now, I just had a team training this morning, but I call this space my mom cave. So really, I like to think that I run a business here, but sometimes when I need to escape and just break away from things, I come into this space and lock the door and leave my phone outside of the studio space. And really, center myself, maybe do a yoga practice, maybe schedule a massage to have somebody come here and give me a massage. So my why is really, really focused on creating community, creating support for women, creating confidence, creating financial freedom, creating better relationships with your family, your spouse, your friends, and all of that. And it's mysteriously, through LuLaRoe and even just holding a team training here this morning, it really, my purpose has funneled through me and creating this space to help other women build their businesses. So that is my why. That LuLaRoe has been a vehicle for me to be able to keep this space open, to keep it thriving, to give it multi-purposes, whether that has to do with just in my little farm town of Minooka, creating a space for them to practice yoga, and on what looks like Thursday mornings, we get to have team trainings here for LuLaRoe, so that's really exciting too.
Cool, awesome. So I asked you to talk today about self-care because we have that little thread that we talk about self-care, and you posted something, and I just really want you to share what you share with your people there in your studio, and your passion about self-care. So go ahead.
Okay, awesome. So there's an activity that I do, whether it's a beginner's yoga workshop, somebody just starting out in LuLaRoe, or even new parents, any sort of transition into life. I really, really like to do this activity. Today we talked a lot about what success looks like and what stress looks like. And you kind of have to find this balance in both of those, right? To be really successful, it's going to feel a little stressful. So it's inevitable. It's going to happen. And so how you handle that stress, how you organize that, and how you become aware of it is really, really important. Because really with LuLaRoe, we hit the ground running and things just start happening. It's a very fast pace. I know 6 months ago, I never imagined I would be where I am today. And it's amazing and it's exciting, but it also has those days. I use like a visual of like a wave current that like some days on the highs, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And then on some days where it's the lows, it's like, oh, this is not what I signed up for. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us, whether you're just day one versus you're in it 2 years. We're going to have days like that. So I just want to share with you guys, Amanda's talking about an activity that we did today, and it's so amazing because I get to show you in live person what we did today for our, look at me, I'm like on a turntable. So I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but basically what I call this, or what this is called, is above and below the line. Can you see that?
I can see it, but I can't see the word.
Okay.
Oh,
so
wait.
Basically,
There we go.
I'm a super visual person. So what I had everybody do, and what I, if you want to reach out to me, or if you guys want to challenge yourselves to do this, this is really great to do for yourself. It's great to do with your team. It's great to do with your spouse, your family. My family all knows this, and my 7-year-old will call me out on it too. So it's called above and below the line. So what I did in this group setting for our team was you draw a nice big thick black line in the middle of your paper. I put, I don't know if you can see this, but success is up above and stress is down below. So what I did is I just blurted out the word December and had people give me feedback. So December created a lot of interesting words for not only personally, but professionally. Somebody said leggings. Oh my gosh, like that's both, right? We've been above the line and below the line with that. Like, oh my gosh, I can't get any. On Tuesday, everybody in my team was so excited that they won the lottery with leggings. Some of the things that were above the line for my team were, when I said December or even 2015, was shopping, empowering, exciting, giving, success, peaceful, rewarding, sisterhood, life-changing, family. These are all things that when we're on our up and up, these are the things that we love and that we thrive on. Things that were below the line: hectic, stressful, scared, doubt. Somebody actually physically gave a huge big exhale. I could tell there was just stress in her body when I said the word 2015. Cold. We live in Chicago. It's freezing. Some people like that. For me, that's a below the line thing. Debt was a big thing that came up. Busy and hectic. For me, that's something that brings me really below the line is online sales. I see all these people thriving out with online sales, but I noticed that there's this pit in my stomach. It's super stressful. There's deadlines. There's people asking a million questions. That's something that brings me below the line. When I was able to recognize that, I said no to it. It doesn't serve my purpose. So this is a great way to write down all the things that bring you above the line and below the line. Now, when you take a few minutes to do that and get that down on paper, then what happens is you move over to your self-care part. So we call this a shift. And it's in like a really light green, so I don't know if you can see it. I'm so sorry. But these are things that are gonna, once you recognize that you're falling below the line, they can be things that you have to pause and say, I'm not going to go there. I need to do something right now that's going to bring me above the line. So my shifts, for example, are yoga, maybe completely logging out of Facebook and going to get a pedicure with a girlfriend. So these are things that like fill my cup, so to speak. Things that when I notice myself going above the line, either in my business or just everyday life. It's December. We're all crazy trying to get stuff ready for Christmas. These are things that I have to schedule in my life to happen so that I know, yes, I need to get through these couple pop-ups this week. But guess what? I have a massage on Friday, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to fill my cup, and it's going to repurpose me, and it's an hour to just check out of life. So those are your shift makers. So becoming aware of it for yourself is awesome, but then sharing this with people in your life, whether it's people on your team. I told everybody in this room, I said, as your sponsor and your team leader, I need to know what your shifts are so that when you are contacting me about something that's bringing you below the line, I know how to remind you to go fill your cup. So whether that's your spouse, your team leader, an accountability partner on your team, they're going to know the things that shift you. I know, like some people, I can just send them a video of a song that reminds us of something that was really, really fun that allows them to shift. Maybe in a little minuscule way for that minute, but it helps.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this above and below, it's really just like how you're stressing out, right? The below is like when you're really stressing, and the above is when you feel good about yourself. Yes?
Yes, the top is like all of the, like I'm feeling above the line. Like how I described it was when you wake up in the morning and your feet hit the ground, if there was a little, person or subconscious there going, guess what? You get to do whatever you want today. What is that? And then everybody answered with all the above the line stuff. Like, I feel good. I feel balanced. I feel peaceful. I feel centered. I feel all of those are all your above the line, like juicy, good stuff. And then the below the line is like stress, hurried, online sales for me.
Right.
So I know to become aware when I'm starting to fall below the line. Like I said, my 7-year-old knows when my voice starts to raise. She's like, "Mom, dance party time because you're falling below the line." Like she knows because we do this with her too. Right. Reading makes her fall a little bit below the line, so we have to repurpose how that looks and create the space for her to do that. So
I love that. I love that
it's a great tool.
I love that your kids know it too. That they are able to keep you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's huge. And I'm like, you're right. It's so foggy in my stress ball right now that she's recognizing that I'm falling below the line and she can keep me in check.
That's great. All right. For you viewers who are, there's a little chat box. I hope you guys can see it. If you have a question for Kristen or for me as we're talking, you're more than welcome to ask us. I am going to switch over to time management, and it's kind of the same thing as Kristen, because you want to be successful, and if you don't have your time, if you're not managing your time and looking at where you're spending most of your time and how you're doing your work, you're not going to be very successful. So I just wrote up some quick stuff on this. I did a talk at convention, and I did it with Melissa Kalman. She's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And we basically did it on a book called Work Simply. I'm not going to go into that stuff as much as I'm going to just give you some like little tips. The first thing I wanted to say, though, real quick, is Art said this last May at Leadership, and it really struck a chord with me because as women, we feel like we're really good multitaskers. I can, be giving when my kids were little, I could be giving a spelling test, cooking dinner, and texting a friend all at the same time. And something he said was multitasking is extremely inefficient. It is impossible to be present when we are multitasking. And that really struck a chord with me. When I first started the business, I was just all over the place. And my husband sat me down and he's like, Amanda, you have to stop, you have to set time, because you're all over the place. We don't know if you're talking to us or if you're talking to somebody else or where your brain is. So I sat down and I thought, okay, I'm going to work in the afternoon. At that time, my kids didn't have as many activities as they have now. But in the afternoon, they would have piano and reading time. And for that hour and a half where they were taking turns practicing piano and reading silently, I would do work. I would sit at the computer and I would do my work. And having that hour and a half and knowing that at that time I could answer emails, I could make contacts, I could post on Facebook, it really helped me the rest of the time. I wasn't like frantic. So setting hours when you work is a really good idea. Amelia Lyon, Justin's wife, also talks about this. She works Tuesday, Thursday in the afternoon. She has a nanny that comes over so that she still can, be there with her kids. But she goes in her office and she works Tuesday, Thursday afternoon. She doesn't make any exceptions. And those are the times that she works. And then when she's off, she's present with her kids. She's present with her family and her friends. And she's doing other things, those things that will keep you above the line. So setting hours, one thing, you can make lists for yourself daily of what you need to do. I need to do that because I'm terrible about forgetting things that I need to do. But make a list daily of what you need to do and then look at it and prioritize it. So if your son has a basketball game, like mine has one today, my priority today was to make sure he gets all his stuff together before I sat down and did this, because if I leave it up to him, he's not going to do it. So I needed to make sure he got all his stuff together, and for us personally, I don't have a party going on today. So for my business today, I made sure that I had, this going on. And then later today, I'm going to be making phone calls and posting on Facebook. So setting a priority after you make your list. A big thing is hiring out or seeing how you can hiring out. So the biggest thing is Post Simplify. That's not really hiring out, but it's a program that's like $8.99 a month, and it posts to Facebook for you. I strongly encourage you to invest in that program, that website, and get your posts going through there. If you have any questions about that, you can ask me later. But it's if you sit down for maybe an hour and a half and get all your posts, and you can streamline everything. Every party will be the same. It'll be super simple for you, and it's something that you don't have to sit on the computer and do every single day. You just get it all done in an hour and a half or so, setting it up. You link your Facebook event to it, and it posts all there. It's awesome. It's amazing. I love it to pieces. Except if you get put in Facebook jail, that just means you need to take some time out and do it slower. Maybe don't do all your parties all at once. Hire an assistant. You can pay them in clothes. You can pay them in money. I have 2 high school girls who come to my house. I don't hang up anything anymore. I get my boxes. I, do inventory, make sure I have everything, check the order form, and then I give the box to them. They unpackage it. They hang it up for me. They do all that. I don't do any of that anymore, and it's a huge stress relief to me. They come over. They spend about an hour to 2 hours, each of them weekly, and they get a free item, and they love it. One of them is earning something for her kids or for her sisters for Christmas. So that's something that you can do. There's food programs like Blue Apron. If you guys aren't feeling like you're not cooking, there's Blue Apron, or you can just go out to eat, hire out that way. I employ my own children. They come with me to parties. They do a lot of stuff for me around the house. My kids are older. If you have younger kids, you can't do that so much, but employ your kids. Another thing that's really good for me is airplane mode. Turn your phone on airplane mode when you're going to bed, when you're with your family, at lunch and dinner. My phone is not on. I keep it aside. That way you're present with your family. and you're not distracted from what is in front of you. And one more thing that I do is I set the tones on my phone per, I guess you could say, level. So all of my coaches have a different sound. All of my trainers have a different sound. All of my new girls have a different sound. My family has a different sound. So when I get a text, when I get a phone call, I know who it is. And I know if I have to answer it. I know if it's a priority for me to answer it or not. So those are some tips that I have for time management. Kristen, do you have anything?
I did a training last week for my team on time management because whenever I put it out there, what do girls want? They always say time management. So it's taken me a good 5-6 months to figure this out. But I sat down actually in the plane on the way home after Amelia's talk. I sat down and figured out what my ideal week looks like because it is a job. Like we have to figure out what days are going to be our work days. Also for great structure for my family. So I sat down and I envisioned what my perfect week would look like. And what I found out through that was I was saying yes to something because I want to grow a team and do all of that. If I'm saying yes to that, I have to say no to something else. So after looking at all of that, I had to give up doing massage therapy as a career because I needed to free up those hours or I would be working 24/7. So really envisioning what my ideal week looked like was a huge step to figure out time management and where I wanted to be every day with my schedule.
So, my challenge to you guys listening today is to look at where you're spending your time. If you are constantly trying to find that perfect skirt for that one client, maybe don't do that. If you are constantly posting on Facebook, maybe look into Post Simplify. But like Kristen said, see, what your perfect week would be, or monitor how you're spending your time and seeing how you can change up some things in order to use your time more wisely. If you guys have any questions, you can chat over there. While we're waiting for anybody to have a chat or a question, Kristen, what is your perfect week?
So on Mondays are my catch-up day. That's my day that we basically just lounge around in pajamas all day and I sip coffee and just kind of catch up on everything from the weekend. Typically, I've had a lot of inquiries over the weekend or people just starting out that had pop-ups that had a lot of questions come up. So I can devote time to answering their questions. It's a lot of, catching up with that kind of stuff. It's all of my catch-up stuff at home. Laundry, dishes, making phone calls for the doctor's office, all of that kind of stuff. And then Tuesdays are my devoted LuLaRoe day because I don't have anybody at home to interrupt me. So as I move more into a leadership role, that'll be like training preparation days for me. Home office calls at noon. So I know that I need to be, centered and ready for that. I have a lot of people on my team that can't always make those calls. So I like to be the first person to relay the messages that are discussed in those calls. As a leader, I feel like that's important. And then there's typically a training call at 3 o'clock that day that I want to jump on and gain as much information that I can from that. I save my ordering day for Tuesday because typically if there's a launch or something happening, I'm ordering that day. Also, I've figured out what I've sold over the weekend because you'll see that my pop-up dates are Fridays and Sundays. So I order on Tuesdays. Wednesdays are an off day for me. My daughter, my 3-year-old's home, so we use that day to just do fun stuff with her. Thursdays are my, I'm here at the studio. I'm doing one-on-one yoga appointments or other yoga related things that I have to prepare schedules and stuff for the studio. And then Fridays, I have open shopping hours at my home once or twice a month. And then I'm packing up everything, having it all ready to go for a Friday pop-up. And then I do a pop-up on Friday. Saturday is like a family day. And then Sunday is another pop-up day. And the reason I did that was because I was sick of hauling all of my inventory in and out of my car 3 times. So I streamlined everything from Friday to Sunday, and I keep it all in there. And then after Sunday, I get to unload my car on my catch-up day, count my pieces, and reorder.
That's awesome.
That's my ideal week.
One thing that I failed to mention, when I am looking at my calendar, because my kids are in a ton of activities and, you know, and we have church and everything. When I'm looking at my calendar for 2 months ahead, I try to highlight the dates in my LuLaRoe calendar that I would be able to do pop-ups. Those dates have, you know, I don't have very many anymore because my kids are in so many activities, but I can do parties Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday morning. And those, and sometimes not even Thursday, sometimes I have to do Friday instead. And when you have that available at your parties and you're saying, hey, you know, would you like to book a party? Your customers, your hostesses know when they can book that party. And you know too, so that you're not like, oh, I got home and, oh, I have to change that. And that will also help you. If you look at that, you know, you can spend your time with your family and you're not missing out on things. And another thing that Melissa Kalman always says is there's no such thing as a skirt emergency. And she's very adamant about that. And it's true, you know, people are starving in other countries. So skirt, leggings, it's not really that big of a deal. You can't say no. You can say no. This is your business. It's not their business. It's your business. You can say no. Target has open hours. You know, you can have open hours and you get to set those hours. And that's the beauty of this business. You do not have to succumb to what they want you to do. So be confident in that and know that you can say no. Does anybody have any questions for us? You guys, you 9 viewers that are watching us right now.
I want to show, can I just show you my calendar too really quick? Because I forgot my
Mine's downstairs, so I couldn't get it.
Okay, so talking a little bit about that. So this is like an ideal week in January. So I put these little Post-it notes. This is Friday and Sunday. So like this one's already accounted for, but this one is still open. So then I know on Friday, I still have an open pop-up date. This is my cleaning lady.
That's awesome.
Post-it note. So this is like an awesome week for me. So she's going to clean on this day. I have to be out of the house. So I'm going to see a client that morning, and then I'll probably book myself a massage. Because I like how awesome to get my house clean, have a massage, and then my cup is filled, and I can go serve and be awesome at my pop-ups and not be super stressed out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
that's amazing.
And those little Post-its are, you know, they can come off. So if somebody needs to reschedule, I can just open that up, move it to a different day. Or if somebody's like, well, Friday doesn't really work for me, maybe I'll do Saturday. So instead of going Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and overstressing myself, I'll just move that tab from Friday to Saturday and then have Friday night open.
That's awesome. I highlight everything, and then I don't put my personal stuff on that calendar because I don't want my customers seeing it, but I have it in my phone, and I usually have my phone next to me at a party, or, you know, my phone's always with me. So I would love to challenge you guys to do the above, the below line, either with your husband, with your LuLaRoe accountability partner, or just by yourself, and see where how you can make your stresses and shift them, like Kristen said, how you can shift away from stress and make it a success. So that's our challenge for you this week. And anybody have any questions? We'll open it up for here for like another 2 minutes. Nobody's really chatting. Can you guys see the chat? Can somebody like say yes? You can see it? You can see it?
Yeah.
Any viewers, can a viewer please comment that you can see the chat, because I need to make sure that I did it right. Anybody? Anybody see the chat? I might have done it wrong.
Oh, Shannon says I can see it.
Who says that?
Shannon Brown says I can see it. Oh, and then she made a comment above that, and Brandy said, I just love to see your faces.
Aww.
It's public. I don't, maybe.
I'm trying to see. I can't see the chat.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so does anybody have any questions?
I'll read them to you if they come through.
Okay. I really, Kristen, I really appreciate that you took the time, and that it was awesome that you were able to show the above the below line. I've never, I've always thought about like looking where I'm spending my time, but looking at the stresses. Okay, there is a question from Shannon. Amanda, you shared a tip at convention that I loved. Turn off the Facebook and Instagram notifications on your phone. I did that and it has been so great and saves me so much time. I get to decide when I'm checking my phone rather than the notifications throughout the day, pulling me away from what I should be doing. That is, yeah, that's key. So sorry, a second. Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. So my Facebook, so see down here on my phone, sorry. Can you see on my phone? I don't get the notifications on my phone. I don't even have sounds. I have to go into Facebook to get the notifications. And the only thing that has sounds for me and notifications is my text messages and my email. But turning that off was super helpful. And also I turned off any of the groups that I didn't feel like I had to be there for. So each day I sit down and I go into some of my coach and trainers pages just to see what's going on, kind of monitor. Sometimes I don't get to it every single day. I usually only go in there, if I have like downtime or if somebody has tagged me. So that was super helpful. Thank you for sharing that, Shannon. Can you see any other questions?
No, I just see where they say like I can see it.
Okay.
I just wanted to piggyback on the notifications for business groups and Facebook and that sort of thing too. Like I know when I did above and below the line, a lot of times like things prior to LuLaRoe that were in my Facebook feed, about once a month I'll go through and I'll unfollow certain things that, like, we're in an election year, there's a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
And so I noticed that even though I'm drawn to that stuff, it doesn't serve my purpose. So I'm thinking, okay, I don't really like seeing all of this stuff. I like to be informed, but if there's something catastrophic, somebody's going to tell me about it. So when I go to sit down to do something in Facebook, how many times have you noticed that like all of a sudden you're scrolling and like watching videos and you're like, this is not what I sat down to do. So a lot of the things that like draw me in, I've started to unfollow because that's just not a great way for me to utilize my time. Even though, if I want to check out for an hour or do something on LuLaRoe related, I might go sit down and do my Netflix or something. That needs to be that instead of Facebook just sucking me in and drawing. And all of a sudden 45 minutes has gone by and you're like, I was supposed to post all this stuff in my party and I've done nothing.
Right.
And creating those lists and maybe, doing like the stuff on the top of the list that's the most time consuming. So then you're like, oh my gosh, look what I just was able to cross off my list versus like the little stuff towards the end. I'm kind of a procrastinator. Yesterday I had a big event last night. And I'm like, I like to think of my procrastination as more of a skill than a downfall. Like, oh my gosh, look at all the things I just accomplished in 2 hours. Even though I'm probably coming out the end of those 2 hours pretty stressed out. But the event was amazing, and I'm still awake this morning, which I was a little worried about because it goes pretty late. But yeah, just unclicking things that don't really serve my purpose in Facebook world. I don't need to know. I love just Justin Bieber, but I don't need to know who he's dating. So unclick that, that kind of stuff.
All right. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much, Kristen.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your challenge this week, everybody, is to just do the above below exercise, like I said, with an accountability partner, your husband, or your sponsor, or just by yourself, and just see where you're spending your time that is making you out and see how you can alleviate that stress to shift it. So I hope you guys all have a really good weekend, the last weekend before Christmas. I'm not sure if we'll do a webinar next week because of the holiday. Look on the Facebook pages for that. And Kristen, I can't wait to see you in January. I know. Okay, thank you, everybody. Bye.